Coming up next on NSEN, the men's and women's basketball team season came to an end over the weekend.
That's not all, Vic. There was some big high school basketball action over the weekend, as well as 3 teams that were crowned state champions.
All those stories and more. NSEN starts right now. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Victor Benz.
And I'm Jonas H. Welcome to NSEN.
Jonas, before we get started with the show, I just wanted to tell everybody out there once again watching tonight to tweet us your sports questions as we go along.
Well, you know what? You were just full of good ideas. If you want us to answer your sports questions at the end of tonight's show, be sure to tweet us your questions at NSEN__, right? 2, not 1 underscores, MTDN.
Now let's go ahead and get to the show. The MTSU men's basketball team traveled to Kentucky for the second round of the NIT. Sunday evening, the number 3 seeded Blue Raiders were hosted by number 2 seed Louisville Cardinals. The game was fairly close early on as MT held a 16-15 lead to end the first quarter. But the second quarter looked like a completely different ball game. MTSU had no answer for the Cardinals' hot shooting from downtown, especially from guard Ryan McMahon, who went 4 for 6 from deep. Even with Nick King's 19-point second half, MT dug themselves too deep of a hole to come back. Louisville would take this one easily. Final score 84-68. King led all scorers with 24. Senior Brandon Walters put up a big 16 points as he went a perfect 6 for 6 from the field. Giddy Potts and Antoine Johnson both finished the game with 10 points apiece. And not only was this the end of the season for MTSU, but this was also the end of the Kermit Davis era. Davis was formally introduced as the head coach at Ole Miss. Davis finished his 16th and final season at MTSU as the winningest coach in program history. Davis holds a 332 and 188 overall record since taking over the job in 2002. He also racked up 4 Conference Coach of the Year titles and 6 conference regular season titles along the way. Kermit Davis had this to say about his long tenure here at MTSU after the game.
It's been unbelievable. You could have been at my first practice in the spring of 2002 when I got there, and to see kind of the program evolve, just facilities, and even how that first team ended up that year. And I guess you think about all the former players. It's been really fun to build the program. It has, but I think the program, they're going to hire a really good coach. The program's going to be in good hands. I think it's in good foundation.
We wish Coach Davis a great career over at Ole Miss. But basketball season hasn't ended just yet. The women still have a chance to make a big run in the WNIT, and that started this past Thursday in the first round. The Lady Raiders took on Ball State in Muncie, Indiana, where a classic battle of the 3-and-D took place. Jess Laurel rang it up from the perimeter, splashing 3 from downtown. She ended up with a team-high 12 points and 4 assists, including this pretty dime right here to set up Anna Jones for a 3. In total, MT went 8 for 28, going 5 for 14 in the second half. While the offense was surprisingly clicking, MT could not stop Ball State, led by their junior guard, Carmen Grande. She notched 16 points on 4 of 10 shooting with 6 assists and 3 blocks. Yes, you heard that right, 3 blocks from a 5'8" guard. Insane. The Lady Cardinals as a whole sent out a SWAT team with 7 blocks in the entire game. In the end, the Lady Raiders could not hold Ball State, losing a close one, 69-60. Of course, their season ended with 2 consecutive losses after previously winning 7 of their last 10 games. They finished the season with a record of 18-13 overall and 10-6 in conference play. The team next year you will see most on the roster will be mostly returning, as only 3 seniors will be graduating. Among those returning in the team is standout and junior Alex Johnson and talented freshman Anna Jones. There's expected to be tough competition in the Conference USA next year as 5 schools played in the postseason tournament this year. But don't be surprised, however, to see MT be back among the top teams in the conference and back in the NCAA tournament.
Don't tune away because coming up, we've got all the action from the boys' state games. See who ended up on top and how the top high school prospects performed.
Stay tuned. This is NSEN.
Chef Patty here. Why should you include avocados as part of your family's balanced diet? It's as simple as
1, 2, 3.
Number 1.
Avocados fill you up.
Avocados contain unsaturated fats, good fats your body needs to help with the absorption of key nutrients.
Me hungry right now.
Number 2.
Avocados are good for you.
Avocados are naturally cholesterol and sodium free, plus they contain nearly 20 vitamins and nutrients.
Me need vitamins and nutrients. And number 3, avocado delicious.
Try avocados in place of ingredients higher in saturated fat. Avocados taste great in sandwiches, salads, and even in baked goods like cookies.
Avocado cookies. This match made in heaven. No.
This is your new kitten, or your new puppy. Every day, 70,000 puppies and kittens just like them are born in the U.S. Cute, right? Well, what's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents. And when a kitten has a litter of oopsies and a puppy has a litter of uh-ohs, pretty soon you have thousands and thousands of OMGs. And that leads to millions of pets being killed in shelters each year. But if 80% of pet owners say they believe in spaying and neutering, then what gives? Well, it turns out those sweet little fuzzballs can get pregnant sooner than you think. A lot sooner. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. You just have to remember one number. 4, as in 4 months. When you bring home Maggie or Ruby or Puddle or Clyde, get them fixed at 4 months. It can be old enough to get pregnant, and it's definitely young enough to make a difference. Prevent more, fix at month 4.
Welcome back. We're your boys, Jonas H. and Victor Binns. And what a week for high school basketball. A lot of action of some of the top teams, not only in the nation, or some of the state, but even the nation.
That's right, with Memphis East and Whitehaven clashing in the finals for all the marbles.
But before that, we're going to go to our man Nathan Vaughn for the games that went down. Nathan?
Well, thank you very much, guys. The Memphis East Mustangs did indeed make another trip to the Glass House, looking for its 3rd straight AAA title. But the Mustangs did not have an easy route to the title game, taking on undefeated Blackman and a 1-loss Bearden team. But Memphis East battled through both teams to punch its ticket to the final. The Mustangs were powered by its big 4 of James Weissman, Chandler Lawson, Malcolm Dandridge, and Alex Lomax. Each of these guys are blue-chip prospects, making Memphis East the Banana Boat Cruise super team of Tennessee basketball. But on the other side of the bracket, Whitehaven beat Knox Powell and Northeast Clarksville to set up an all-Memphis title game. But in the end, Memphis East was too much for the Tigers as Penny Hardaway and company took home another gold ball. However, it would be the last game for Penny Hardaway as coach of Memphis East, as he is now announced to be the next head coach at the University of Memphis. Keeping it in Memphis in the AA state tournament, it was Hamilton who would bring home the hardware. Hamilton dominated the first and second rounds of the tournament. The first round against Whites Creek, the Wildcats won that by 17 points. They said, that is just too close of a game. Let's beat Livingston Academy by almost 50 points. So the tournament would be a breeze from here, right? Well, not so fast, my friend. Knox Fulton had to go to double overtime to beat Stratford in the semifinals, and then a nail-biting field would carry over in the final. It was a close battle with Fulton and Hamilton going down to the end. That one ended up going to Hamilton 60-58. The Falcons of Fulton were up as much as 8 near the end of the game, but the late Hamilton run ended up being crucial. So let's see, 2 for 2 for Memphis now, but the city would not sweep all of the state titles, unfortunately. The Single A tournament was supposed to be a coronation for the Douglas Devils, who, after Blackman's loss, had the state's longest winning streak, and for the first 2 rounds, that looked to be the case. After grazing by Clay County in the round 1, the Devils blew out North Green in the semis 73-47. But it was Loretto who became the story of the tournament with its incredible run. The Mustangs certainly gave its fans some heart trouble with close contests versus Columbia Academy and Monterey in the first 2 rounds, but in the championship game, most expected a blowout. Just not for the team that actually blew the other team out, as Loretto out-rebounded Douglas 62-29. That's right, 62-29, en route to a dominant 74-67 win. And don't let that scoreline fool you. It doesn't represent how dominant Loretto was in this one. The Mustangs going wire to wire in this one, controlling it from start to finish. And what a moment for Loretto as they win their first state championship and their first appearance in the championship game. So what a busy few weeks over at the Murphy Center. Now I'll send it back like a James Weissman block to the desk.
All right, thank you, Nathan. It's great to see that my hometown of Memphis, showing out in the state tournament up here in Murfreesboro.
Shout out to Mount Juliet, too. That was their first state tournament, and they'll be back soon, guarantee it.
But switching up sports a little bit, Jonas, did you know that the tennis and softball team are having some very hot seasons right now?
Well, I knew that, but some of you out there may not have known that. And with basketball season over, it's time to shine some light on those teams. And it's all coming up next on NSEN.
Everyone deserves to have a decent place to live.
Everyone.
Todos. When a future homeowner partners with Habitat for Humanity to build or improve a home, they build a better future for themselves and their families.
For my family.
Para po sa pamilya ko.
Por mi familia.
With a little help, we all have the potential to stand on our own. Through shelter, we empower. Visit habitat.org to provide help to families like these today.
Time is the one thing that we want more of as a St. Jude parent. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
They take care of our housing, they take care of our food, in addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
And give wishes wings. Because wishes work wonders.
Welcome back to NSEN, everybody. We're going to kick it over to Nathan Vaughn and Will Lyles as they take a look at this weekend's softball, baseball, and tennis matchups.
Well, thank you very much, Vic. The MT men's tennis team had a jam-packed weekend hosting the CUSA Pod at the Adams Tennis Complex. The top team, Old Dominion, as well as Charlotte and FAU, made the trip to Murfreesboro as conference play continued. Things not starting off, however, for the Blue Raiders as they were expecting, as the team were swept by ODU. The #1 team showing why they sit at the top of the conference with a dominant win on Friday. But that did not rattle MTSU for its next match versus Charlotte on Saturday. MTSU sweeping the 49ers 4-0. And it would be to the Owls of Florida Atlantic for the last game on Sunday for MTSU. And after taking the opening doubles point, MT would ground a tough 4-1 win over FAU. Jean Issa won at #5 singles in straight sets, and Chris Edge rallied back to put the Blue Raiders on match point. It came down to Luis Mario Diaz, the #6 player in the lineup, to secure the win, and he did just that, winning in dominant fashion in the third set. Final score of 1-6, 6-3, 6-1. We managed to talk with the man of the day after his big match.
I started playing not very good, actually. I was down pretty quick, and I lost the set. Actually, one of the first sets I lost in the team. But after that, I talked to the coach John that was helping me all the time in the court, and we just decided to make more balls and try to keep more balls in play and try to get more fired up after I won the points, so the guy would see that I wasn't going away. And it actually started working. I was able to break him after in 3-all, and then everything went super fast. The crowd started coming to my court and started cheering. And after that, I just didn't think anymore. I just kept playing, and it worked out.
Well, Coach Jimmy Borndame calls Lewis a little bulldog, and he certainly has been playing with a bite recently. So how about we serve it over to the MTSU softball team? I've heard they've had a pretty big series recently, Will.
The MTSU softball team traveled to Bowling Green this past weekend to take on Western Kentucky for a triple header. MT softball won the season series 2-1 against WKU. The Lady Raiders improved to 20-9 on the season, 11-3 in the CUSA. That's more wins than all of the 2017 season. Up next, they will be going to Belmont on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Over the weekend, MTSU traveled up the road to Bowling Green to take on Western Kentucky in a 3-game series. MTSU started the first game of the series off on a good note with a 2-out single that scored 2 Blue Raiders in the top of the first inning. Fast forward to the top of the 8th, and Aaron Anker gets a go-ahead home run to make the score 3-2, which will end up being the final score. The second game is just as close as the first one, as MTSU ended up taking this one 8-7, despite a late pushback from WKU. The Blue Raiders do end up dropping the final game of the series 7-10 as MTSU ran out of offense and could not match the late flurry of runs Western had. Middle Tennessee's game in Nashville against Lipscomb that was scheduled for today has been moved to tomorrow at 4 p.m. due to inclement weather.
And that's all we have for you guys. It truly has been a really exciting weekend for MTSU.
I agree, Nathan. But for now, we'll send it back to the desk for Vic and Jonas.
Appreciate that, fellas. Coming up next on NSEN, we've got a very heartwarming story about a diehard Blackman basketball fan and what his love for the team did on the court. You're not going to want to miss this, so stick around.
I never imagined this would be your first home.
I feel powerless. I can't stop asking why us.
I just want to hug and kiss you and never let go.
This is the hardest thing we've ever faced. I know it's even harder on you.
You are my little fighter. We're here with you.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words. But to a child in need, they mean the world. When you support a child through Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org/believe today.
We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, I mean, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. There's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
Suppose now sure she makes the sound seem makes me deep in the North Sea.
Welcome back. Now, Blackman had a great season in basketball in both boys and girls. The boys going undefeated 32-0. But one of their biggest stories in basketball didn't even happen on the court.
Jonas, you are right. Instead, it was in the stands where one very special basketball fan by the name of Julian Williams was there to support both the boys and girls basketball teams. Our very own David James has more.
He was just a kid who loved basketball, who was getting ready for his middle and high school life. But he got some news that would affect him for life.
He came down with a pecan disease. It gradually, he already had it, but we didn't know about it until we made it to Tennessee in 2012. And we went to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, and they diagnosed him from there.
Julian was Blackman basketball's biggest fan. He got a jersey and was honorary captain for both the girls and boys teams. He has meant more for this team than he would have thought.
You know that it's bigger than just basketball. You know, we're fortunate enough to be able to play and coach and be around this game that we love. And other people love it too, and they don't get to share the same thing that we do. it makes you thankful for what you've got, and I'm so proud of him for everything he fought through towards the end of his life.
Unfortunately, Julian had passed away on June 8th, and the boys basketball team decided to honor him with warm-ups with his name on it.
It caught me off guard, I guess. I mean, I didn't expect them to have the whole, like the jerseys have his name on it. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool that they would remember him like that.
I still remember the day Coach told us. I just remember everything that we did together as a team, like signed off on his card and everything. And every time I play, I just do it for him.
They put a little bit of extra love in, like they're still reminding everybody that they haven't forgotten about him and that he's still here, and like he's still on everybody's mind and he still means a lot.
Blackman went undefeated this whole season in search to make it to the class house, but their motivation was still the same. Do it for Julian.
It would mean more because it means that all of our hard work, all of the struggles and tribulations and stuff that we've been through is finally starting to pay off. And now that he's not here with us, he is here with us, and he's here to experience all the accolades and stuff like that for us.
Julian was a tough kid who touched the hearts of many on the team with special moments they'll never forget.
I was walking down the hallway about a couple weeks before he passed, and we were just talking about all the fun times and all the hard work we put in, and he smiled and he struggled.
Yes, it's the game of basketball, but it's just so much more. And when we had Julian as our honorary captain, we had him come out before the game in a jersey. You know, that's one of those things that just those special moments, and every time we wear those shooting shirts, we see his name, and it just brings back all those emotions.
Blackman didn't win a championship, but Julian will always be a Blackman Blaze. For NSEN, I'm David James.
Fantastic story. If you want to learn more about pecan disease, please go to www.nbiadisorders.org.
We're almost done, but we've still got our classic Twitter segment to go, Jonas. So please stay where you're at and keep the questions rolling.
Yeah, all of that and more on NSEN. Stay tuned.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
It started with the original care package and millions more like it, passed from hand to hand across land and sea to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need, ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Jonas, the end of the show. And before we go, let's take a look at that Twitter feed. Tweets have been streaming in during the entire show.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but our count has been going wild as usual. So let's get our feed pulled up. And don't forget, if you have a question you want to be featured on the show, please tweet us at NSEN __. I said 2 underscores, not 1, MTDN.
All right, it looks like our first question is going to be from Darius Horton. Darius, let's see. Who's a candidate for the head coaching job for the Blue Raiders basketball team? Well, I don't know if everybody has seen, but I saw a rumor that, Rick Pitino's actually looking into the job. I don't see. What do you think about that?
Rick Pitino certainly would be a good hire by all means, especially for the resume he's had not only in Louisville, but recruiting. I think recruiting definitely wouldn't be a problem whatsoever for this Blue Raider team. But amid some of the scandals, it might be a little bit of a more difficult choice. Don't also put in the system out of the question. They might find someone in the system that knows Davis's old schemes well, that puts the players in a good spot. So either whether it be in the system or even a high caliber coach like Pitino, that's something to look out for as they begin the national search.
I wouldn't mind having Pitino in, but hey, let's see what MTSU would do.
Right.
Next question comes from David James. Who makes it to the March Madness with their new coach? Ole Miss, Memphis, or MTSU? As soon as I seen Memphis, I'm sorry, I have to answer this one first. I know I'm a little biased when I say this because being from Memphis, but I will have to say my honest answer is the University of Memphis, because Penny Hardaway, what he brings to that program is much more than just his structure and how he runs an organization. He just brings a lot of swagger that stays within the city, if you know what I mean. So I feel like that all around would just look good for the program, and I can see them going very, very far.
And let's not forget, Hardaway just won a high school state championship. I mean, that was not too long ago, and then took the job from Memphis. If we're talking about who goes in first, I definitely believe Memphis, and then Ole Miss and MTSU not too far behind in the next couple years getting back to the big dance. Looking at the next question, is Sue a good choice for the Titans in free agency? This has been circulating around for a while now as Sue came in to visit after Sylvester Williams was released. Despite the on and off field issues, I feel like talent-wise, this would be a great acquisition for the Titans, especially in a tough South with the Jaguars and the Texans both getting the top of the AFC South.
I definitely think this would be a great pickup. I honestly see, of course, there's controversy, but, a little controversy never hurt anybody. Maybe too much will hurt somebody, but I feel like if his behavior off the field can stay okay, I think it'd be a great addition to the team.
You got to get those off the field issues fixed if you really want to become a contender.
Correct.
Our final question is, what do you consider Kermit's best win to be in his tenure at MTSU? All the way back since 2002, what do you think his best win's been?
I know the obvious answer is the win over Michigan State in the tournament just a couple years ago. You got to think what that did for the program. It brought national attention to not only MTSU, but Murfreesboro in general. So and it was a great win, of course,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be repetitive, but Michigan State, the 2 seed, getting upset by MTSU, I'd say that's the defining one for MTSU. That's all the time we have for today. I'm Jonas H. along here with Vic Binns. Thank you so much for joining us here at NSEN. Tune in next week for another great show.
All right, y'all have a good night, Rutherford County.